Hey, how's it going, everybody? Shaun here from Zoobox, and today we got another movie review. We're going to be talking about the recently released movie, Shut In.
Sorry now. Sorry now. Whose heart is aching for breaking?
Jessica.
It's directed by DJ Caruso. It's written by Melanie Toast, and it stars Rainey Qualley, Jake Horowitz, Luciana Vendette, Penelope Martone, and Vincent Gallo. The logline plot synopsis is: when a young mother is barricaded inside a pantry by her violent ex-boyfriend, she must use ingenuity to protect her two small children from escalating danger while finding an escape.
What good is this doing now?
You had your way.
I'm scared.
Now you must pay.
Your daughter. She's very pretty.
So yeah, this is the newest film put out by the Daily Wire. It's like technically their second movie. It's really their first though. It's the one that's like fully fledged. They were involved with like every step of the process. They were involved in the producing of it, probably finding the writers, getting some of the talent on board. But it's also co-produced by Bonfire Studios, which is run by Dallas Sanye. And if you don't know who he is, he kind of made a splash a few years ago by coming in as kind of an angel investor and bringing back things like Fangoria. And then he built that out into something bigger and broader. There was a website called Rebeller, which was like kind of like the action tough guy cult movie version of Fangoria. And then he had a studio, or a production company rather, called Cinestate. And Cinestate kind of produced stuff that felt a little bit more right of center. Never explicitly political, but they did feel a little bit like have a harder edge, maybe even had a little bit of conservative values kind of smuggled in there. Movies like Dragged Across Concrete, S. Craig Zoller's fantastic film starring Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn.
Being branded a racist in today's public forum is like being accused of communism in the 50s. Whether it's a possibly offensive remark made in a private phone call, or the indelicate treatment of a minority who sells drugs to children. The entertainment industry, formerly known as the news, needs villains.
There's certainly nothing hypocritical about the media handling every perceived intolerance with complete and utter intolerance.
It's bullshit.
There's stuff in there that it would probably more thematically, you might be more comfortable with it, I guess, if you were a center-right person, which is a ridiculous thing that we live in a world that you have to kind of qualify that kind of bullshit, because honestly, it's just a good movie. A good movie is a good movie regardless of like it's kind of its intention sometimes, its political aspirations sometimes. And if a good movie is a good movie, like you would find yourself enjoying something that had like a political message or an ideological perspective that you found abhorrent. But if it was well made, you'd be surprised how much you'll let slide, you know? So anyway, they're teamed up with the Daily Wire. This is their first full-fledged production. Before it was Run, Hide, Fight, which the Daily Wire purchased after the fact and then put out under their label. So the movie just didn't get buried because Cinestate had like a scandal with a guy accused of sexual harassment, maybe even statutory rape, I think, and one of like their line producers. So there was this big controversy. Everybody that worked for Cinestate thought that the two people that ran Cinestate, Dallas Sanye being one of them, didn't handle it well, so everybody just kind of quit. Honestly, it was this giant fucking pussy fest. Not to say that what that guy was doing was good, but the idea that like he wasn't sufficiently chastised by his bosses. His bosses didn't jump down his throat before an official investigation had taken place, and they also didn't blow the allegations out of proportion. Like, people just quit because it was during the high times of Me Too, and people were just like, no, any story that comes, anybody that comes forward with a story, with a claim We need to take it as fact immediately before we look into it at all. So Cinestate kind of crumbles as a result of that. And so they're coming back in. This is, like I said, this is their second movie. They have a few other ones. I think they have one with, what's her name? Gina Carano, the old, wasn't she in what, a UFC fighter? She's in the film Haywire. She was in The Mandalorian before she was fired by Disney. Fired for Disney by speaking her truth. Which is, it is bullshit. It's bullshit. The heinous shit that the actors on these shows say, the weird political opinions that they have, that they just espouse every day on social media and stuff like that. They're allowed to do that. But Gina Carano happens to be a little right of center, so they came down on her like a ton of bricks, and she got fucked over. So, she's working with the Shapiro, and the rest of Daily Wire. And no, when I say Shapiro, I don't mean, obviously, you think I'm talking about Abby Shapiro from Classically Abby. Obviously, that's what you're thinking I'm talking about. But I actually mean her lesser impressive, smaller-breasted brother.
Well, yes, we can. Ah! Hyena like Joker laugh.
I'm just telling you, those, when I think about Abby Shapiro and I think about those milkers, those giant milkers just sitting there just swaying. She's just talking. Oh my God, I'd be good to you. I'd be so fucking good to you, girl. I'd be so fucking good. Whoa. So the movie itself, it's I was a little underwhelmed by it, to be honest with you. Like I said, I was looking forward to it in a sense because I loved Cinestate. I loved the kind of the sentiment of that project. I liked that they were making movies independently and going in directions that we just don't see anymore. And it's in Hollywood productions, even in other independent productions. It had this kind of grounded, gritty, almost like kind of 70s feel to it. Like all the movies felt like something that you would watch, like one of those hard-boiled anti-hero flicks, like Vigilante or something like that. Like that feels like they would make something like that. Vigilante, the old Robert Forster movie. Like that was kind of the tone and the vibe of their movies. And I thought for the most part, I liked all of them. I think I actually own all of them on Blu-ray. And I was just a big fan. So I like that the taste of the production company, which is now Bonfire Productions. I like their taste. I like their instincts. I do feel that there is definitely more influence from like the Daily Wire. Because like I reviewed it a while back, Run, Hide, Fight, which was like technically the last Cinestate movie, which felt in line with what Cinestate had done before. And the quality was more in line with what Cinestate had done before. Whereas here, I definitely feel like there's probably a little bit of influence from the Daily Wire. There's definitely a little bit more on the nose when it comes to what the message is trying to get across and the concept of like, the values that the film is trying to sell, which are all good values, by the way. It's just about like owning your shit, being a good parent, respecting your legacy, learning from the past, understanding where you come from. There's tons of stuff, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit after I get through this brief little explainer here. So it felt a little on the nose, a little too precious at times. And the director, DJ Caruso, I'm just not a fan of him as a director. I think he is like a for-hire studio guy. He's been around since like the mid-90s. I think one of his first movies, or maybe it is his first movie, is that Val Kilmer flick, The Salton Sea, which is it's okay. It's not great. And then from there, he kind of just does studio fare. Disturbia, Eagle Eye, I Am Number 4, Triple X3, The Return of Xander Cage. So I've seen like a few of those movies. Like I've seen Disturbia, I've seen Eagle Eye. I think I've seen even the Triple X3. I may have actually watched that at some point, and I'm just not a fan. I don't think he doesn't have like a authorial presence. He feels very anonymous, like a gun for hire. He's a very odd choice for this because he is such a studio guy. Unless for one reason or another, maybe he's in director's jail. I think that Xander Cruz, is that what it's called? Xander Cruz? Am I saying that right? Xander? Oh no, Xander Cage. See, I don't even know the fucking name of this fucking Vin Diesel movie. I don't think it did very well, so he might have been in some sort of director's jail as a result of that. Maybe he saw this as a way out to make a movie. And it's a movie with very kind of meager aims, meager goals. Like it's very tight. It's like a tight 90 minutes. It's a very small cast. Like when I read the cast out, that's literally the entire cast. There's not like, and others, like I normally would say. No, that's the entire cast. It's like 5 people, 2 of them being children, 1 of them being a baby. So that was it. That's the whole deal. That's the whole package. And I think his direction, it's definitely a problem. I don't think he very clearly communicates a sense of escalation or tension, and also like how the themes are building, how the characters are going through a journey, especially the main character. I never really felt like just so much of it seemed like it was just haphazard or kind of contrived. They were there to facilitate the plot in a way that I felt didn't feel organic, which I think it totally could have, though. Like there are so many little things, these little context clues about everything that's going on that's supposed to inform you about her life, but the way that they built the movie, they act like these things are a little bit more of a reveal, and also we don't know enough about her up front. It's another one of these weird things, and I've noticed this in a few movies recently as well, is that they act like this personal character information. They treat it like it's a precious thing, like it's a twist that they can bring in. Whereas if they had just been more upfront about it, we would have just a better sense of the person and why they feel that the way they do. Like if we just understood a little bit about her past a little bit more, informing her to going in, other than the fact that she's like a reformed meth head. She's a meth addict, went to rehab. That's like part of the story as well. And that's really kind of all we know about her, is that she used to be a junkie. She doesn't have any money. She has to move out of her grandmother's house because they can't afford the taxes on it, and etc.
There is no chance of that happening.
Mommy.
Well, I'm clean since rehab, I told you.
Mommy.
Hush, baby. I'm on the phone to Auntie Claire. Do you want me to take a test? Okay, I just used my last minute, so I will take a test if that's what you need.
That's all we really know about her, but we don't know enough about her personal life, I think, and also her connection to her grandmother and her connection to religion and how she feels about those kinds of things, because there is definitely a through line of like finding your inner truth, your inner spirits, your inner faith, like finding God within yourself to give you the strength to compel you to move forward and do what needs to be done. Because, you know, it does have the framework of an interesting arc for the character. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff that go on in the pantry. Like they do a good job of like keeping you interested visually, even of what's going on in that room. It's kind of but the problem is, it's just like I said, a lot of it has to do with like scale and sense of escalation and sense of tension. I don't think it does a very good job of executing on that stuff. And I think if you were to watch DJ Caruso's filmography, it wouldn't come as a surprise that this falls a little flat. So things that I did like about the movie, though, I liked the general sense of what it was trying to get across, even if it didn't execute it all very well. And also, I thought Vincent Gallo was really good. I could have used way more Vincent Gallo.
You know what he did to that little girl.
You're always paranoid about that stuff. It's called projection.
What did I do, Jessica?
Nothing. I was talking to Rob.
What'd I do? Say it.
I was talking to Rob, okay? I don't know.
You said my name. Tell me what I did. Go ahead. Tell me what I did. What I do. What I do.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Rob. Look. I have a lot to do, okay? So thank you for getting me out, and I'll call you when we get there, okay?
Oh, she's so busy, Rob. She's so busy. I think you've just been dismissed, buddy.
He is naturally enigmatic, weird, and menacing. He brings a very off-kilter energy to the character and to the movie, and the movie is at its best when Vincent Gallo is in the movie. And that is all on Vincent Gallo. That has nothing to do with the way he's shot or directorial choices. That's just Vincent Gallo. He just kind of understands the assignment and is willing to go there, is willing to be a complete freaky bastard.
Take it out! Take it out, you bitch! What did you do to me? Get it out. I swear. I'll leave now.
You'll get
Take
out
it out.
when I get out. Keep your other hand out of your, or I will cut it off.
Get your kids.
And he really, I think he relished it. He seems like you could kind of tell he's probably having fun. He hasn't done anything in a while. And I wish there was more of that. I just wish he was a bigger part of the movie. I wish that the sense of threat that he represents, I wish was like just gotten across better. I don't know how else to put it. And that's so much of the other parts of the movie. So much of it, there's so many things that are like very contrived. Like I had said kind of before, even beyond like some of the character arc stuff, some of the personal history stuff with the characters, like the actual actions that the characters take place in the movie, it does kind of it does test your ability to suspend your disbelief a little bit, because you're like, this is so fucking stupid. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? I mean, granted, even the premise itself, like, this must be the most sturdy fucking farmhouse, old, almost like broken down farmhouse I've ever seen in my life. It reminds me of the place where my aunt used to live. My aunt and her family, they had an old farmhouse a lot like that one. And yeah, you could anybody could kick down a door at that place. I can't imagine, like, that was, I know it's a small thing, I know it's a stupid thing, and they do kind of rectify that a little bit by literally boarding up the door.
What are you doing? Oh my god! Oh my god! You put a nail through my hand, you asshole!
When she's put back in there. But like, even just the first, I was like, you should be able to just kick that fucking door down, dude. You should be able to figure this out. Come on now. But anyways, that's I'm being very nitpicky there. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, like I said, it's not like apocalyptically bad. I would just say it's just kind of, I think you're going to find it very forgettable. And the barrier to entry for this right now is basically you got to go get a subscription to the Daily Wire. That's the only place you can watch it. I think Run, Hide, Fight is the same case. I'm not sure. Did they release that on, I don't know. Let me check. Run, Hide, Fight. I don't even think you can watch that on, like, so you couldn't go rent it on like Amazon Prime or something. Which seems like a wild mistake. So they have it locked away behind a subscription service, which you can pay like, I think it's like $14 a month or like $144 a year if you want to do that. I paid the $14 a month. Like I said, even though like I didn't really love this movie, I'm not like, if they put out movies like this and they're working with the people that they're working with, like, I'll probably throw them a couple bucks every time that they put out a movie, like as I'm renting it. I have no desire to like be a subscriber to the Daily Wire. But since they're doing what they're doing, I respect the mission. I respect what they're attempting to do. So I'll give them some money for that, for sure. I think it's a wild fucking mistake. I think you could have a window of exclusivity, but then you got to let that thing out in the wild. Like, you're not Netflix. Okay, you got to let that stuff go on VOD so people can find it. I mean, it's got their fucking name on it. Like, it's the first thing, and honestly, it kind of irks me a little bit. Like, the first thing you see when you start watching the movie is the Daily Wire logo, which I get it. Like, they're a smaller company. They've done a lot. They spend a lot of money. They're building towards something. They're trying to be a media empire. They're trying to be kind of like almost like their own version of a studio / Fox. Like, they're trying to get there. They're trying to build towards that kind of a deal. So I understand they're being like very proud, but it also comes off as kind of vanity, and it distracts from the movie. Because the first thing that you feel is like, oh, I'm watching a Daily Wire movie. And I don't know. Maybe it was just me. That could just be me. I want to be fair. That could just be me. Maybe I'm being unfair. But it almost like skews like how you feel about what you're watching, because it makes it feel overtly political, even though it's really not. It almost like just sticks that in there, and you're like, oh, this is kind of like I'm supposed to take away some sort of political intention here, even though I don't think you are. I think it's pretty apolitical, honestly. Like I said, I do think it has like more of those conservative values baked into the cake of the script and stuff. But I don't think it's trying to like hold your hand and tell you to be conservative or something like that. It doesn't even broach any of those kinds of things. It doesn't even touch on any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I think it's a mistake. I think it's a weird thing. I think it's a weird choice that they've made because it's just branding. It's just marketing. Like there's plenty of people that would see the trailer for something like Shut In or Run, Hide, Fight or that Gina Carano is like Death on the Prairie, I think. And then they have some sort of superhero movie coming out, I think, in a couple months even with Carrie Ells, you know, from The Princess Bride. You remember him? Remember that guy? The Dread Pirate Roberts? Oh my goodness. He's a conservative? See, that's the case. I don't know if they made that before and then the Daily Wire just got that with like the package. Because I don't know if Carrie Ells, he might be. I don't know. Because that's always going to be a problem for them. The Daily Wire thing is always going to be a problem for them. Getting talent, actors, directors. You're not going to get people that are like, you know, more bigger names plugged in. Although this is an opportunity to go rehab some actors maybe that we've forgotten about. You know, maybe give Edward Furlong a call, you know? He's fucking on. He's stuttering Stanley over on fucking Cameo right now.
I know, yeah, well, yeah, we didn't have Cameo in the 90s, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, I know. I know, these spoiled kids these days. But do I have any upcoming projects? What's new with me? No, dude. I really don't.
I'm trying to get an interview with him. If you know him. If you know him, tell him Zubok loves him. But yeah, like somebody like that. Like they kind of did with Vincent Gallo a little bit. Although Vincent Gallo, I don't know if he gives a shit. Honestly, I have no idea if Vincent Gallo gives a flying fuck whether he was ever to be in a movie again or make another movie. I have no clue. Honestly, I don't understand why. I mean, maybe they are. Maybe they're behind the scenes. Maybe Vincent Gallo will make The Brown Bunny 2. Money shots. Maybe he'll do The Brown Bunny 2 for the Daily Wire. That would be fun. It's funny because Vincent Gallo is like this. He's like a hardcore. He's like a neocon. He's like a neocon conservative. There's some great old interviews of him, like during the press tour for I think it was either The Brown Bunny. I think it was The Brown Bunny because he did Buffalo '66 and then The Brown Bunny a few years later. And like, you know, all of the international European French journalists interviewing him, just assuming that he's going to like hate George W. Bush. And then he just talks about how much he loves them.
The personalities in Hollywood are a joke to me. I mean, I've never been on a film set in my life and felt that I was part of the a real cultural group. The Republicans are portrayed as a bunch of mainstream white rednecks, religious fanatics, and evil corporate leaders. You know, it's simply not true. You know, I considered myself a radical always, but an extremely conservative radical.
It's very funny. You should go look it up if you get a chance. But would I recommend this? I think if you want to support their project, like this notion of these kinds of movies being made outside of the studio system, kind of people just doing something for themselves, trying to build something like a parallel institution, if you will, a parallel little movie studio, a little Hollywood thing that's outside of all this shit. Then yeah, I'd say go give them a couple bucks. I don't think what would I say? I'd give it a 2.75 out of 5. Maybe a 2.5 out of 5. Which is like especially if you're a big Vincent Gallo fan, and I enjoy Vincent Gallo. I like when Vincent Gallo is in a movie. So I got a kick out of seeing Vincent Gallo again, and I think he's, like I said, I think he's the best part of the movie. I think he's the bright spot in the movie. He's the best performer. He has the most interesting character. He's the darkest element of the film, and I wish that he was just it was just more of an interesting dynamic between him and what was going on. The movie is almost like too simplistic for its own good, and then has a hard time kind of even delivering on that. And it feels like things are very haphazard, rushed, and contrived, unfortunately. But like I said, even having said that, I like the notion. I like the idea of what they're trying to do. I hope they get some better directors and stuff in the future. I hope they get some more interesting projects. And we'll see. I think that the key to their success, though, is doing things like Shut-In. Is doing genre pieces that are small, that are intimate, with little casts, on, kind of secluded locations like this. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that. And I hope that they kind of embrace that moving forward and don't try to stretch themselves too thin in terms of what they're trying to accomplish. Like, if you don't have the money to do a big action movie or something, just don't fucking do it. Just do something different. Do something more interesting. Necessity is the mother of invention, the Daily Wire. Listen, Daily Wire. Listen, Abby. Oh my God, Abby. Abby, if you're watching this, tell Ben to email me. ZooBoxPodcast@gmail.com. I got some ideas. Zoobox would love to be in the business of making right-of-center media. Sure, why not? We'll do it. Me and you will chat. We'll have some bagel. We'll have a bagel together. Put a little schmutz on it. Be nice. Be cool. This is business talk. This is businessman, big Hollywood businessman talk. And I won't hear otherwise. All right, everybody. Well, that's kind of like my brief-ish. Well, not really brief. Holy shit, it's kind of long. It's my rambling review of Shut-In. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to know more about Zoobox, there's a bunch of links in the description from everything from our Reddit to our Twitter to our Instagram. Also, there's ways to support the channel if you'd like to. There's a paypal.me link on there. We would appreciate it. We're trying to build out Zoobox a little bit better. That would help for pay things like ads and boosting ads on Facebook and on YouTube, and also buy maybe some better equipment like better microphones, better cameras. I need some RAM for my computer. So things like that. So we're trying to kind of move forward and do some new fun stuff, and anything that you can do is help, even if that's just liking and sharing. That's also super important to building a channel out. So I appreciate everybody's time, and we'll talk to you next time. Next time I watch a movie. Well, no, that's probably not true. Next time I have time to watch a movie and then sit down for a half hour and talk about that movie. Goodbye. I love you, Abby.